So it's time for another update on Texta, and a lot has happened since the last video. In the last video, Texta was a tool for developers, so you could load in your translations, you could translate them, you could manage them, and you can export again into your code base. Since then, we introduced the concept of a team. So you can now invite your colleagues, your translators, your freelancers into Texta and collaborate on your copywriting and your translations. And that's a big thing. That also means that we'll have to manage, of course, all of the data in a backend. You'll have to be able to manage access to your projects, and all of that happens from within Texta now. So you can see that in Texta, we now have a team up in the top left. In this case, I'm in the personal team, which is a team that I've created. And within that team, I can add new projects. So you can see here that I actually have a few other teams as well. Obviously, there's a few here. You might not have that many, but you might have a few. So you can have a project for your app, a project for your website, or you can create a new project. So let's create a new project in my personal space here. And let's do this for the Circa app. So we now have a new project. It's completely empty. Let's import our existing keys from Circa. You can now see that you were able to import before, but now you can import both strings files, JSON files, string catalog, and XML files. And all of these will seamlessly import and export from Texta. So let's import our strings files. You can see that we have all of the translations for the Circa app here. So let's load them in. We have all of our languages and a bit of waiting. Then we have all of the translation keys imported. So you can see now we have all of the languages, all of our translations. And if we go to languages, we can see that the top language is German, has been set to basically be the source language. And we can change this by just rearranging, and we want English to be our source language. This means that whenever we translate into a new language, it will be based on the English version. You can see that there's one translation here that are missing a few strings. So in this case, we're missing the Danish and the Swedish version. Let's add those simply by clicking translate. And you can see that it's not always perfect. In this case, I would probably use this, this wording instead, but it's pretty good. From what I can tell, the Swedish one also works. So of course, there's always a bit of nudging and a bit of adjustment, but the translation really helps you get a baseline, and then you can iterate from there. You can see that we also have a new button up here, and the button is what we call smart groups. So with smart groups, you can group all of your translation keys based on a separator or a way of formatting the naming of your keys. So in this case, you can see that all of my keys are structured in a snake case, basically using underscore as a splitter. And I can use that here to generate groups based on that. And these groups are quite loose, like it's not a hard defined group and you can move things between. It's all based on the naming. So if you change the name of your key will move to a different group. So in this case, let's say that we want our groups to be based on the first two parts of the naming, or the first one, right? Let's do the first two, and you can see in the background, our groups are updating, and that makes it so much easier to navigate all of your keys here. If we click the drop down, you can see that we have all of the groups, and we can choose to focus on only one of them to find the strings that we want to edit. You can see that in the bottom of the edit view on the right, we have a new button called Add Language. This is basically a shortcut to add a language as you would do from the languages overview. But now you can do it directly here and say, hey, we want this to be translated into one of the many languages. This is one of the parts of the app that we probably want to improve a bit. How do we make sure that this list is something that you can easily scan and find the language that you want to add? Let's add Portuguese. So now we've added Portuguese, and you can see that it's empty for now, and it's empty across all of the different pieces of text here, but we can go to our languages tab. You can see we are missing 546 strings. Let's add those. This is all being translated based on the top language, so in this case English. It's gathering all of the strings, passing them on to AI, and AI will then translate these strings for us. It takes a little while to get through all of the strings, but eventually we'll have translations for our full app. And keep in mind that this is a manual process today, and this happened in 30 seconds, which is quite exciting. You can see all of our labels are now translated into Portuguese, and if we go out here, now I don't know Portuguese, but this might be a really good starting point that you could review with a native speaking within whatever language you're translating to. So this is really what's cool about Texta, that you can translate this quickly. Of course, now we've added a language and we need to export it again. And our product might not only be an iOS app, it might be a web app, or it might be an Android app as well. There might be different formats that you want to export to. And you can see in the bottom left, this might not be the final UI for this, but you can see that you can export to various formats. So let's export to strings again and say these are new translations. And we'll export them here. So now we have completely new translations exported to new files that we can import into our code base directly. And this was just me on my local machine, but anyone that has access to the team will be able to go in and edit these. So you could invite your translator, you could invite your team, and you can collaborate on this, which is really cool. So as you can see, it's a lot more refined today than it was maybe a month or two ago. And we also opened up the beta. So there's currently about 10 beta testers that are actively using the app and giving feedback. And this has already brought out a lot of bugs and things we could improve. But if you're curious and want to start using Texta soon, you can always go to texta.app, and I'll paste the link down below as well. Go sign up for the waitlist. Currently, everyone on the waitlist has actually received an email with an offer to join the beta test group. So it's not like there's a long waiting list. Go and join the waitlist. And you'll get an invite very soon.